right, ladies and gentlemen, I have a special guest, man. A special guest, Kenyatta Griggs. How you doing, sir?
Family, how's everything?
Everything's blessed.
Pleasure.
Everything's blessed,
Pleasure.
man. Hip hop motivation, man. You know what I mean? Let's take it back though, because you're a barber and everything. What inspires you as a youth, teenager, for you to really just get your own barbershop and go the entrepreneurial route like that?
Well, it started off where my mother wasn't able to give me money for haircuts every week. So one of my aunts who just passed away like a few months ago, she bought me my own pair of clippers. And she bought me those clippers telling me that, you know, every young man should learn how to keep himself groomed, you know, keep himself up on a on a weekly basis. And still go get your haircut, but just for me to learn how to keep myself up. She was one of those people, she was an entrepreneur. She was a school teacher who actually quit teaching school to go into the daycare business. And at the time, being in daycare, at that time, as some of y'all might know, in the 80s, the amount of children you could have in a house was unlimited as long as you had the space. And so she was the first person I really seen on the independent grind. And so when she taught me that and told me that, I just stuck with it. And coming up, I began to cut all my people that I went to high school with, you know, some of my homeboys, and I was good at what I was doing. That was that Jodeci era, doing texturizers, you know.
So you do that too?
Yeah, well,
right,
real reason why I'm burnt out right now. You know, so you know, shout out to Jodeci for making me burn this out. But you know, I just was doing hair, and then I was good at it. And then when I got out of high school, you know, my girlfriend at the time, she was pregnant with my son, and I had to think of a way to, you know, not only just make money, but like career-wise, like what would be good for me, business-wise, you know, what would be something good to go into. Since I was already cutting hair, I didn't go to barber college. I went to beauty college, but that was based on, I started working at UPS, and I saw that I didn't really like that element, you know, because nothing against UPS or any, you know, postal service or any jobs, but I don't really like the politic game within business where people try to set you up. People was putting the wrong box in my trailer.
Oh, yeah.
You know, you're dealing with different people that are really just trying to get rid of you so they can bring their folks in. You know, I just don't really like that whole element. So I just went into self-employment and been happy ever since. I love self-employment.
What made you stick to that? Because, you know, it's rough sometimes.
Yeah, it's rough, man. Like the first day I started working on Crenshaw, that's where my shop was at, Crenshaw on 43rd. My mother always tells this story. She laughs about it because my first day there, after about an hour sitting there, no clients coming through, no haircuts, I called him like, yo, can you pick me up? I don't, you know, because I didn't really understand the element of what it takes to build clientele. Like most barbers and beauticians, when you first start, especially if you didn't grow up in LA and you're not doing family and friends, because I moved around a lot growing up and I had family here and I grew up in LA, but I didn't understand that in order to build clientele you have to kind of be active in approaching people, letting them know you cut and everything, because a lot of times what barbers and beauticians do, when people walk past or walk in the shop, they just expect them to walk up to them and say, hey, cut my hair. But that's not the way business works. You have to promote yourself. You have to put yourself out there. I mean, in any business, like what we're doing now, you have to let people know that what you're bringing forth is available to see or hear, or even if you're in the restaurant business, to taste.
You have to be vulnerable.
You have to be vulnerable. So what you have to do is you have to get away from rejection. You got to get out of that fast. And I learned about that early because like I was being a young father, which also made me a young father, was that I was a little Mac daddy type dude growing up. So
I can't see that.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? So for me, I was always getting at women. I was always saying different things to women because I would pay attention, from learning from my father, pay attention to eye contact, paying attention to if she was, you know, interested, then I would go up and say something. And then there was a time where I didn't care if they was interested, and I would still say something. And so
it sounds like it was embedded in you low key, because you said that your mother was like, it's very important to keep yourself up.
Yeah, my aunt, yeah, she said that, and my mother too, but it was like my father was like that, you know. My father, he knew how to cut hair, but he lived in Cleveland. But my aunt, being that she knows that was important to me, because that's important to a young man when you're in high school. Any man.
Well,
you know
I think it's important in business.
Yeah.
And it's interesting that you said that you wanted to get yourself set up business-wise, not career-wise.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, yeah, I heard you say,
Yeah.
business over career.
Yeah. Because it was like my back at that time. You know, being a young father, you know, my son wasn't even born yet. You know, like it's pressure because I didn't know what to expect. So it was cutting hair was something I was doing as a hobby, and sometimes I wouldn't even charge my boys. It would be like I'd be cutting 100 hairs a week, and my mom used to get mad at me about that until I did start charging. You know, but I felt like not charging was developing my skills, which it did. I got it later.
Yeah.
But, you know what I'm saying, it's like when you're a young father and you're looking at, you know, like, damn, I want to be able to take care of my son because I'm not a scumbag, you know what I'm saying, and take care of his mother. And we were still together, and I had to come up with something. And just thank God that I was already cutting hair, you know, because a lot of people, they have to come up with something in a whole nother way. And sometimes that's not the best route to take, you know. So I just say for anybody that's looking to go into any form of business, make sure you make a career out of what you're doing based on what it is you're really good at doing and what you really like. If you like to talk, go into the podcast business. If you like to, you know, if you like clothes, go into fashion, some form of fashion, you know, do those things. Just really connect it with what your inner vibration and what you really like to do.
So is that your business model right there?
Absolutely. I really believe in.
You didn't say do what you like. You said do what you're good at.
You do what you feel and do what you're good at.
I heard Mark Cuban say that too.
Yeah, because what happens is a lot of times. Now, don't get me wrong. Any skill can be developed in any way. Like, you know, you know, we wanted to go out and play football. We can develop the body tempo and get it in good shape and get to the level where we can play on that level. But it may not really be in us to do this on a day-to-day basis. So you have to go with what you really like to do, what you would do for free if you wouldn't get paid for it. You know, like if you're into talking and you're into speaking and building with people, could you know, that may be something to go into and do it for free, like doing the podcast situation or creating your own show. And see, today, since, you know, everything's the way it is, where everybody's just independent, we got different shows and different from people from all walks of life. It's a beautiful time to be alive right now for independent, because there was a time where we didn't have access to putting anything up on YouTube or letting people over in China know that we exist, unless we went through their platform.
Right. Which is what I wanted to kind of bring you back to, because you said when you was at the barbershop you weren't getting clientele.
Right.
So what was your marketing approach?
My marketing approach was similar, very similar. It's interesting, very similar to when I was approaching women in the streets, being young, you know. And it's funny because I didn't really. You have to have a form of not caring. You can't care so much about what someone thinks about you and what someone feels, but you can also. But what I also would do is I would fill out if I was bothering the person. I wouldn't approach someone on the phone if they're on the phone or something like that. I wouldn't approach like a young lady. I wouldn't approach a young lady if she had headphones on her head, or she's walking fast and don't want to be bothering her head's down. It's just like if she looks up, give me eye contact, I might say something to her. But if she doesn't, no problem.
So you're very observant, and you understand that you're being a gentleman, which lacks in our communities.
Yeah, you have to observe things, because, you know, it's like I learned early on just being in business that tact is very important within business. Like, you know, there'd be times in the barbershop where it's peaceful and quiet and somebody come in, hey, and it disrupt the element within the salon, you know.
Not to say that you guys don't get down like that, but
Yeah,
right now you guys are
eventually,
enjoying the peaceful life. Like, you know, peace, be still.
Feel things out first, you know, and you get to see, you know. I mean, I just believe in being led by the inner spirit, you know. So it's like when I talk to people, and I'm giving them my card or my flyer when I was really building clientele. And then when they would get my chair, that was the biggest element of building clientele, was like, once you do their hair, send me some people. You tell each person to send you someone, you know. So it would be like, you guys are doing this, and I put it on my platform and tell people about you. And it's just, that's what you want to do. It's just like, it's each one teach one, basically. Yeah.
How'd you end up with industry clientele, though? How did you develop that?
Good question. I developed my industry clientele from just really developing my skills to the level where when I gave someone a haircut, they went somewhere and people would ask, who cut your hair? So the way I initially met Dame and the whole Rockefeller crew back in the day was through a guy named Walter Millsap. I was cutting his hair, and then Jay Brown, who runs Rock Nation, saw his haircut. But at that time, Jay Brown, I think he was at Elektra Records or something like that. And he got my number. They called me from cutting Jay Brown, and I started cutting Dame Biggs and all the guys, Kanye, all of them.
Dope.
And so it's kind of like the same element. Like I said, once people are in your chair or they're around you, you know, it's like people like to help people, and you say, send me some people, send me some business. Jay Brown sent me Benny Medina. I was cutting him for a minute, and you know, different people beyond that. And he was also the one who taught me how to charge accordingly for these sets, because you know, a lot of times you're in the dark about what should you charge, because you want to cut somebody.
Yeah.
You know, so I was actually in the beginning, I was playing myself a lot like
I
that.
believe it.
Because I didn't know the business. I just was like happy to be cutting such and such. I was happy to be cutting a guy like Jamie Foxx or whoever, you know. So
It's good though. I believe that it shows, again, your vulnerability. It also shows your loyalty,
no, yeah.
because you were able to, you know, display, okay, I may be new with this, I'm good at it though. And you kept showing up even after you may have learned that, you know, I need to charge more. This is the set rate you probably charged, and you kept charging it. People were tipping you, was never the outstanding rate you should be charging.
Yeah, it was,
you know what I mean? Eventually you
deep.
got there.
Yeah, it was
sure.
deep. It was deep because sets, you know, they usually don't tip. You know, like if you get a client, if you're doing the artist, he may tip you, but usually they don't. It's rare that you get tipped if you're working on set. You just charge your rate and they give it to you. But at first, I was charging somewhere sometimes like $100 to go out, and I'd be like, in my mind, because at that time haircuts were only $12 at the barbershop, $12, $15. So in my mind, I'm thinking like that's more than enough, because that's 15 times gets it to 100. It's not that big of a deal.
Yeah,
Gas was a little cheaper then, but Jay Brown told me, he was like, nah, because he found out what I charged. He was like, nah, man, this is $1 million video budget. And then he would tell, he was there, he was like, nah, you got it. No. He's, I'm going to stop messing with you if you don't start charging accordingly. He was making a joke saying that, but what he was really saying was the truth of all business is that your value, you have to set it. You can't let someone else set their value for you. Then it went back around to what my father used to teach me about when I was talking to girls. A woman basically is open to whatever the man says his value is until he shows her different, basically. So if a woman is interested in a man, whatever that man is providing, showing that woman, she believes it and she reflects it back. And it's the same element within ourselves, because we're all masculine, feminine energy. We both hold the element of masculine and feminine. Nothing works without the polarity of masculine and feminine.
Yeah, I think also what they were trying to tell you about the rates is that you may be charging for a haircut, but being in that element, you're exposed, see things, and everything that your business can very well so be compromised. Your well-being can be compromised, or you can compromise the talent. And so for that, you set that a particular price, because you also let people know that you're exclusive to this arena, to this environment. And so maybe that's also another piece of information he was trying to drop on you, like, here's a gem,
that's what
let me show you something.
He was joking about, but that's really what he was saying, because it was like, you know, I'm an avid reader, so I would read that in different books and stuff, and they would tell you, like, you know, like in books like The Art of Negotiating or something like that, you have to understand your value before you really go off into business. Understand what you're worth and what you're willing to provide. You know, whatever your service is, the first thing you have to do before you do anything is just well define. Get your intent well defined. Your intention of why you're doing what you're doing. The why will take you a lot further than the how. The how is like, oh, you see so many people sitting on how.
Yeah.
How can I do it? I don't know how to use a camera. How? I don't know how to do it, so I won't do it. You know, but the why will push things forward, and that's really how hip hop motivation came about.
So you're discussing and bringing to value the mission and idea of the vision. Like,
absolutely.
One can't come before the other.
Right.
And that should take you from there. Those are the two big key elements that you're taking.
Major
but they broke it down to layman's terms. Just why.
Yeah.
Ask yourself why. Why do you do this every day? Why do you get up?
Why are you?
Why?
Yeah, the why element.
Yeah, speaking of hip hop motivation, man, what made you start that page? Did you know it was gonna take off like that?
No, I didn't.
I did. You know why I did? I was on it early, and I was trying to put her on every episode. You need to listen to this. Hold on, because I was trying to build my.
So you a diehard.
Oh yes, I just from when y'all was outside and get the views, all the old school stuff when he was in the kitchen, all that. I was up on it then.
Yeah, basically, man, just really. I didn't know it was going to be such a success. I knew that Dame was going to get some views, but it wasn't meant for that at first. I was really recording him to create a book called Reasonable Clout at first. That was my idea to, go and film him, record him in his element, and probably put together some form of documentary. We've been talking about that now because we have so much, and it's funny because all those videos it's hours of footage of each segment of videos you see that we ain't put out. Like it's still stuff like when he's sitting up, rolling up with Red or whatever he doing, clowning. And so I came up with the name Hip Hop Motivation. I still have this notebook at my house right now. You know what I'm saying? Hip Hop Motivation. And then I was kind of defined what it was going to be about. Self-help company from a hip hop perspective. A personal development company from a hip hop perspective, and just different things that we were going to do under that umbrella. And then I came with the name Think and Ball Out, which was connected to one of my favorite books, Think and Grow Rich. And one of the reasons before that I really wanted to do something for the culture in the realms of personal development was because every time my homeboys would get in the car, I start my car up, and we on our way to the club, and I have an audio book in my car, but it's some white dude talking and, sounding corny. To me, I get the information, I get the vibe like all of us would, but they be like, man, what you listening to? Like, we don't want to hear that. It doesn't vibrate with us. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't vibrate with us. Yes.
No, we just had this conversation. Sometimes people listen to different genre of music, at least in our culture, and for whatever reason they can't grasp. And it's like if you take the music, if you just read what's going on, the lyrics. It's another. It takes you to another place.
Listen to the message.
It's like the Bible. Come on, I mean we don't all go in there and listen to sermons the same way. But for whatever, if you listen to what's going on though, the words is coming out the man's mouth. Woman's. Hey. It's a message.
It's that you hear different things at different times too. Like a song that didn't mean anything to you back in the day means so much to you now. It's like I wasn't really in the Pac like that when I was growing up. But now I hear Pac. Like I listen to an album like Me Against the World, I'm like, damn.
Oh wow, you missed out.
When I hear stuff like Death Around the Corner, even The Lord Knows, I'm like, oh man. Just his delivery on it is like, oh wow. I mean, he was dope, but I wasn't like that. Wasn't my favorite like that, So I was saying like the operating system of a computer is the same. It's like it was made in the image and likeness of the operating system within each human being, meaning that you can always upload new information, a new learning paradigm where you can re-raise yourself to a higher vibration. You can become a greater person. You don't have to really blame your parents for the job they've done because everybody works with what they have. To go and do that is ridiculous and it doesn't make sense because you got to remember a lot of these people are raised by continuing people that are also dysfunctional, and so the dysfunction doesn't stop until we stop it. So you can't blame them. Of course you can say, oh, they did this and they did that, but what are you going to do now? You can upload new software into your mind, into your heart to bring forth a shift in your life. You can become a better person at any given time.
And if we're talking about that same analogy with computers and operating systems, sounds like you're saying just like when you put a virus into a computer, if there's some kind of error on the disk, on the frame, whatever, and you keep loading that, it ain't going to get any better. Somebody has to really go in there and program it to understand, like, come on, you can't.
There you go. So, that's the key word, programming. How do you program yourself? Daily rituals. What you do every single day of your life becomes a ritual. And then what happens is those rituals become normal, and that normal becomes your life, and that's how you project on the screen of life, just like a computer. So, and then the best thing to do at any given time when you get to a level where you're in a great balance and you're living the life you want to live is always remember to stay conscious and stay focused on giving yourself great information to further your cause and your situation. That's the firewall. Like on a computer, you got to have a firewall because viruses come in. We all get those times where we feel the pressure. We feel like, damn it, or we don't say the right thing or make the right decision. And that's where consciousness comes in. You want to stay conscious. You want to stay giving yourself and providing yourself great information.
I can dig that, man. So tell us about the book Culture Vulture. And what is a culture vulture? I know what it is. You ain't
No, I know.
Our audience.
That's an excellent question because you know, I wrote the book Culture Vultures with of course, the culture of hip hop in mind. I always felt like Damon Dash. Anytime I would go around him, his information was flawless. I mean, there'd be times, that he would say things business-wise or about how to handle certain situations, and I was always in agreement with it. I don't agree everything he says, but I mean, I was in agreement with how he handled situations on the level of approaching business, family, and then really seeing him do it. I felt like I had to capture that, and that's where the videos came from, and also where the book came from. A culture vulture is anyone that participates in a culture and doesn't have love for the culture, but continues to eat off the culture and continues to keep people in the dark about what they should be getting or asking for. Now, I know a lot of people say, well, it's business and you should, business is about making money, but, to me, my image of a culture vulture in my mind is someone like a real vulture in nature is that they eat the dead, right? So I feel like a culture vulture is someone that preys on the mentally dead. The business dead, people that don't understand, they're in the dark about business, they're in the dark about this, they're dead, they don't understand, and they don't want to give them the light or the life of understanding the business they're playing and the game they're playing. So they'll keep taking advantage of it. So that's a vulture,
Dame always seems to use that word. It's like he's made it his own. It's like
culture vulture.
Oh yeah, he says it
he's
like
coined it. Yeah,
he's like, this is me. I totally I felt like your interactions with him is more than just the interviews or your relationship with cutting the hair, but you guys have really bonded.
Yeah, it's definitely a friendship because like with me, I respect the man because I've seen how he the things he says is congruent with what he does. A lot of times I go around people, they say one thing, but they're doing another. Where Dame is really unfiltered, where he's really moving in that way. And I come from that element because my mother is like that. It's funny because my mom is like a female Damon Dash type of person without the business stuff, without the rap group. She's one of those people where she's very like, she calls a spade a spade, she's very straight to the point. If she thinks something stupid, she gonna explain why, break it down to where you be like, damn, right? It makes sense. Like,
I am stupid.
And so that's I'm from that element, so I get even with his harshness on how he says things. You might not want to hear it, you might not want to look at it right now, but the things he says makes a lot of sense. Like what he said on the Breakfast Club, having a boss is like calling another man daddy for a man. It hurt a lot of people to say that. It hurt to even think about that. But
if you feel uncomfortable about anything, there's truth to it. So let's just remember that.
That's really the real thing. If you really feel uncomfortable about it, it's something that you need to change. And so it made people look at themselves and say, you know what? Let me go into the business for myself, or let me participate in trying to bring something forward that I can maybe retire. When I retire from this, I can go into that full time and or just leave this job alone and go into really what I want to do.
The cool thing about it, I understand both sides. When people stay in a safe place, and then I understand why they stay in a safe place.
Man.
You gotta take that risk. I took that risk.
You gotta take the risk, and it's like I tell people all the time, like my attitude about the job market is, work your job, but also, if there's something else you really want to do, make what you really love to do your part-time job. Like when you get off from your job, if you really want to do something, you'll do it when you get off, and then you develop it. You keep developing, you keep adding to it to the point where it becomes a lifestyle. Then you can walk away from that job. Then you can walk away from, whatever's taking care of you because you made whatever you're doing able to stand on its own. But I don't believe in just quitting your job to go into stuff. I believe that everybody has to pay their bills because money is just as important as oxygen. We all say, oh, it's not really important. It's very important. You have to be able to pay bills. This camera wouldn't be on, that television, the lights, Nothing would be on here if it wasn't paid. So you have to make sure that you're taking care of the most important things, and that's giving yourself shelter, making sure.
And I will have to say, because I'm one of those people, unfortunately, that has a job.
Right.
No, but I want to share this because I think it's important about what he said about the lights. And because you can't just walk away. Being part-time and trying to do that, it did take a while for us to finally say, okay, let's get the studio going, let's get the space, let's get the equipment, let's get to that point. And unfortunately, some of it had to do with the job, but some of it did come from some of our efforts.
Yeah.
So it is important. It is very important. You just can't walk away. I know that Dane would probably have a lot of other things to say.
Nah, Dane,
He might cut me off.
Dane, I don't
girl.
even think Dane would disagree with that, because I think like after that interview, he watched it himself, and he doesn't go back on what he's saying, but you can't. He wasn't telling anybody to quit their job. He's just saying like, here, this is what it looks like. Do something about it.
Yeah.
And that's what made people say, you know what, I'm gonna do something about it. I'm gonna keep my job over here. Do something about it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Don't be complaining and because you're in someone else's house and you complaining. Well, go get your own house.
Yeah.
Do your own thing. Stop complaining about it. Just do what you're supposed to do.
Exactly.
Yeah, when you don't.
You know the thing
have
about
it.
Dan?
Yeah.
His delivery, I see a lot of people always talking about his delivery and his approach, but that doesn't bother me because I played basketball and I had coaches.
Yeah.
So when we have coaches, I'm so immune to that type of thing. I just hear the message.
Because it has to be a form of, for change to take place, there has to be some form of conflict. I'm a firm believer there has to be, for you, in order for you to get off your ass most of the time, if you ever pay attention, let's just go take it to the element of like right now I'm in the gym heavy. Like this is the heaviest I've ever been in the gym in my life. I'm sore right now as a matter of fact. I've been going 6 days a week to the gym. I have a trainer 3 days of those a trainer 3 days and I'm working out with my guy, Dr. Zarif, for 2. And it's crazy because I didn't wait for the doctor to say that something was wrong with me. But most people have to have something in front of them, that conflict going on, like, oh, you're diabetic, or you're this, or you have heart problems. If you don't lose this, if you don't do this, this is going to happen. A lot of times that changes people because it's based on the decision of you got to, you don't have no choice. But it's the same element with with business, with everything. Like with Dame, his harshness is actually a good thing for the culture.
Oh, you know what you touched me on when I forgot which interview I was watching, and you was talking about the support thing about family and all that. So you don't even worry about family trying to support or friends. You just go. You just gotta
do your thing, man. You gotta stay in your element. Stay focused on what it is whatever your intention is. See, that's why it goes back into what I said before about intent. If your intention is in the right place, you're not gonna worry about it. You ain't gonna worry about some hater. You ain't gonna worry about family not supporting you. That's gonna happen.
Yeah.
They know you.
Yeah.
Oh, you got some people that your mama might buy a book or somebody.
My mama's my biggest fan.
Yeah, that's everybody's mama's biggest fan. Usually.
I would tell you otherwise. You walked in here, you said, "Oh, I had that vibe." You probably, and I said, you was talking about the music and stuff, and I'm like, that's funny. When I was growing up, my family was like trash. They didn't care for it. They was not because they saw the boys.
Yeah.
Because the culture.
They wanted to protect you from.
They saw the
griminess of the culture.
They thought immediately.
They wanted to protect you from the griminess.
You know what I mean? I see that now.
Because the culture is grimy.
I wouldn't say grimy.
And there's a lot of grime in
but
the culture.
they saw a lot of men in the industry.
Yeah.
All they saw was men.
Now you talking about like as far as distractions. We were talking about distractions.
See, there was a distraction right there in my mouth.
A little distraction. Distractions. It's on purpose. A lot of that stuff.
Oh well, it was a TV thing where we were like, we don't want to panic. I don't believe in that. I said, nah, I'm not gonna go into somebody else telling me what I'm gonna be doing, how I'm gonna be thinking, etc., etc. But when you get back, like the fasting, it'll all be there when you get back. And the minute I turned this on, I said, wow, nothing has changed. People are still doing the same thing.
Same uniform, same thing.
Different
helmet. That's what I've been looking at. I'm like, oh, Cal's helmets are different.
Yeah. Like, I think they play in a different stadium now.
Yeah, I'm like, oh, it's different now.
Yeah.
Not shiny. It's like that, flat.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, that's very true. It's like that gunmetal blue.
Yeah.
Sorry, we're watching the Cal game, North Carolina. Go Cal.
Go Cal.
So, okay, that's what's up.
Nah, but just like to chime in, actually what you're saying is about distractions, but distractions is the primary reason why most people don't accomplish their goals. and their desires, you know, those distractions. Because if you look at the amount of time you spend on social media and the amount of time you're going through watching TV and doing things that are not really putting any money in your pocket, or, you know, building your community or your culture, you know, you really have to look at those things, especially for Black people.
Yeah.
You know, we're in a time where we do want to put forth more effort into caring about each other. And, you know, me being in the service business, I understand that that's really how you get paid, is from the service you provide. That's all of us. Not even just being independent, it's the service you provide. It's just
that's
like, so we got a chapter strictly for women. Of course, we're talking about, you know, stuff that's went on as of recent, some different things that have happened with, you know, Lee Daniels, Lior, and, you know, some different things. But, you know, it's like, it's not so much like, even that book, if, you know, the people that have read the book, I'm sure a lot of people were probably thinking like, damn, I thought it was going to be just Dame talking about, you know, some scandalous stuff. But what it really is it's personal development, it's self-improvement. It's basically like him looking at himself, changing certain things, or moving away from certain things that he just wasn't agreeing with. You know, they wanted him to change who he was, and he wasn't willing to change. He wanted to stick to, you know, he wanted to be who he was. He didn't want to become, you know, soft in this way, or do this in this way, or compromise his own brand as a man based on what somebody else wanted him to do. So, you know, you got to respect that, and that's what we trying to get men and women back into. Just respecting your own personal brand. Who are you? What is your intent? What do you want to present to the world? What do you want people to see when they see you? What do you want them to know about you? You know, give it to them. You know what I'm saying? Because respect is based on how you really treat yourself. Again, you can't give someone something you're not giving yourself. So we want to get people back into being a little more selfish about who they are and their time. And I'm selfish with my time. You know, hey, me and Dame just, you know, we talked about it like a while ago, because I was going through there and he was, you know, he was busy filming, but it was like, man, tell me, don't have me sitting over here waiting on you, because I got things I can be doing. I got children too. And because I'm a stickler for, like, look, let's do what we gonna do, and, you know, let me go on about my business, because I'm a writer, I'm a creator. So I like to create.